Hello and welcome to our discussion today on this fabulous new product that we're going to launch and a little bit about the La Mer broth. I want you to think about the first time you connected with the sea. How did it make you feel? Remember feeling the sandy water between your toes and seeing life swim around you and smelling the seawater, hearing the waves, tasting that salty mist on your tongue? The experience was magical. That's what La Mer means. Bringing the love, beauty, joy, and the energy of the sea to life in all of our products. Let's face it, the sea is a source of life. Just being there is healing. The sea is what inspires us and is exactly what inspired Max. With the sea as Max's backyard, he observed, he studied and discovered the amazing potential of the Pacific sea kelp. We know Max was a visionary, and he knew that algae would be the perfect plant and energy source for La Mer's miracle broth. More than 50 years later, algae discoveries are still shaping our future, from new food sources to biofuel, from kelp plastics to algae textiles. Whether it's food, fuel, fiber, even pharmaceuticals, algae is the future for so many industries, including ours. Sea kelp, or algae, is packed with energy and the basic building blocks of life. Things like minerals, carbohydrates, fats, proteins. Some proteins are those important skin peptides. But Max added even more of kelp minerals to the broth. Minerals like calcium, zinc, and manganese. And although we've never talked about it, we know today that calcium regulates cell turnover. That's the mechanism of smoothing our skin. Also, that zinc is an antiviral, and that zinc and manganese are cofactors for arginase. That's that enzyme that actually stimulates the production of NMFs, or natural moisturizing factors in our skin. I don't know. Was it fate, or did Max know the reason for every mineral he added? What we know today is that kelp minerals boost the broth's healing and moisturizing properties. And we're clinically proving that today. Let's take a moment to talk about the broth. We start with our signature sea kelp. And to our signature sea kelp, Max added vitamin E, caplets of C and D, natural organic ingredients like eucalyptus, sweet almond oil, sesame seeds and sunflower seeds, alfalfa sprouts and wheat germs, to name a few. Even after everything is added, it's only when the kelp mixture gets inoculated with a small amount of live broth from the last batch that the fermentation begins. And when frequencies of light and sound pulse through the mixture, the fermentation is well underway. After 3 to 4 months, it transforms and distills into the miracle broth, the essence of life. The living broth, this major anti-irritant, is the main ingredient of our new eye balm. Because the balm contains an intense amount of miracle broth, because it has intense activity and has intense penetration, we thought, maybe we should call it the Eye Balm Intense. This intensive penetrating eye balm seriously reduces puffiness, sagging, lines and wrinkles, and it noticeably lifts, firms, and brightens the whole eye area. Really, it's a lifesaver. When we look into each other's eyes, for whatever reason, we see a lot of things, including how well we take care of ourselves, our eyes. By nature, eyes are extremely fragile and susceptible to insult and injury. They're actually 3 times thinner than our facial skin. This thin skin around the eyes shows signs of aging faster than our hands do. We learned from the original balm that we could strengthen the eye's 3 times thinner skin with 3 times the amount of the original miracle broth. And we learned from the eye concentrate that when we use all 3 types of miracle broth, the original broth at 3 times the amount, the concentrated broth at 25 times the concentration. Remember, we reduce it like a sauce, only no heat and under vacuum. A kilo cost about $400,000. And an encapsulated miracle broth that will time release the broth throughout the day. All 3 types of miracle broth make major things happen. Because it's a potent anti-irritant, the miracle broth is anti-aging, it soothes and depuffs, and provides clarity for healing and repair, protection and strength, and hydration. Now our newest discovery. During our sea exploration, we discovered the answer to an important consumer concern. puffy, irritated, and tired eyes, we discovered a remarkable solution, a red algae deep beneath the sea. This deep sea red algae is at the heart of the marine depuff ferment. Let's take a little algae expedition from the surface to below. At the surface are green algae, thought to be the ancestors of land plants. They're green because they have lots of the green pigment called chlorophyll. Like most plants we see around us, green plants easily and efficiently absorb visible sunlight for photosynthesis. Now traveling deeper, we find brown algae. It's really a brownish green because it has some chlorophyll. Not a lot, because it doesn't receive much sunlight underwater. In the darkest depths of the sea, we find red algae, filled with red and blue pigments. It is adapted by absorbing the darkest blue light for photosynthesis. It stores as much energy as it can to survive, like a camel stores water. Deep sea red algae, or rhodophyta, is Latin for rose and plant. It's its own powerhouse and energy reserve. How does it work? There are two reasons we have puffy eyes. Under the eye, there are swollen fat cells that actually block and trap lymphatic fluid. The second is there's swollen and inflamed lymphatic capillaries that actually restrict the flow of this lymphatic fluid. Both create swollen, puffy, and irritated eyes. Let's talk fat first. In some people, they have those big fat pads under their eyes, and honestly, the only way to help that is going to be surgery. However, the precursor to those fat cells are fat or adipose cells that become inflamed and swollen. We want to take care of that. The fat cells are so closely packed together, they block flow and create the buildup of lymphatic fluid, making eyes red and puffy. The deep sea red algae works to shrink the size of swollen fat cells. It stimulates microcirculation and unblocks the flow of fluid. The second reason we have puffy eyes is when lymphatic capillaries become inflamed and swollen. The swollen capillaries restrict the flow of fluid. It's like drinking water through a super small straw. Once the deep sea red algae reduces the swelling, the capillaries are soothed, kind of open up, and the under eye fluid flows freely. It actually helps deflate puffiness and rejuvenate our eyes. I want to show you something. This is called a hand boiler. This is just an illustration of how the capillaries that are really blocked can then open up and have fluid flow freely. Alone, the deep sea red algae is very active, but when it's fermented with yeast, vitamins, and minerals, it explodes with activity. It's called the marine depuff ferment. Its major benefits are soothing, calming, and depuffing the eye. As if this wasn't enough, we combine the depuff ferment with a rare and energetic watermelon tourmaline. Remember in Lemaire, we use tourmaline because it's piezoelectric. Like a switch, it turns motion into microcirculation, giving energy and creating flow. Both the depuff ferment and the watermelon tourmaline are then embedded into a smart sea gel. It's smart because it actually senses osmotic pressure. Like a wave, it expands and contracts, pumping actives deep into the skin as needed through the day and night. The result? Extreme depuffing action. And this is exactly what I need. So we have our miracle broth to the third power, our marine depuff ferment, and lastly, our new lifting ferment. The lifting ferment is a combination of three ferments that promote youth and clarity. They're fermented separately just like Bordeaux grapes. In a Bordeaux, Cabernet Sauvignon grapes are fermented separately from Merlot, separately from Cabernet Franc, and after each goes through its individual fermentation process, they're blended to create the great taste of a Bordeaux. The lifting ferment is a combination of, first, the marine peptide ferment. You may remember it from the regenerating serum. It combines the blue algae lift ferment and peptides. Second is the new phyto or plant ferment that works with the marine peptide ferment to stimulate a variety of collagens and elastins and fibrins and other youth proteins. Third, a new mineral ferment that takes a broad spectrum of essential minerals or cofactors added to the brown algae and fermented, creating this colloidal mineral blend that can easily absorb into the skin and accelerate the production of cross-structural proteins, really combating that droopy eye syndrome. Together, the three ferments contribute to the lifting ferment's ability to strengthen the thin under-eye architecture and provide tremendous anti-aging benefits like reducing lines and wrinkles, lifting, firming, and clarifying uneven skin tone. All the powers of the eye balm are anti-aging, depuffing, and clarity, fueled by the miracle broth, the marine depuff ferment, and the lifting ferment. Let's talk texture for a moment. The original eye balm is such an important texture to our customers that even when we thought it would go away, it just wouldn't. Just like our moisturizers, our customers want texture choices. Making it better was no small feat. Like the regenerating serum, the unique texture deeply penetrates the skin. The Eye Balm Intense immediately hydrates, retexturizes, and provides an incredibly soft, luminous finish. In the AM, we suggest applying the Eye Balm Intense with a silver-tipped applicator. Honestly, it's a mistake to refer to it as only an applicator. It's really an applicator and a device, very much like a roller ball. When you move the cold tip back and forth underneath and around your eye, you're stimulating microcirculation. Now this is cool. I found the original creme sample where Max writes a lot about the application of the creme to the eye area. This is what he says. Each night and before retiring, start with a cleansed, dry face. Begin with the eyes. Warm a small amount of creme between fingers. This activates our formula. And gently pat on each closed eyelid and under the eyes with a very light stroke. Stroke the arc between eyelid and brow and extend to the outer edge of eye, being careful not to exert too much pressure. I mean, that's quite a lot of instruction on just a very small sample. And I just thought this would be something really interesting for you to see. And really, this inspired us to study a variety of application techniques. The most impressive was a Chinese acupressure technique for facial anti-aging and lifting. It's here we discovered a simple, effective way to apply the Eye Balm Intense, and this is best done in the evening when your body can focus on repair. I want you to try this along with me. The most important thing is not to fall asleep. First, place 2 fingers directly between and above your brows. And this actually is the acupressure or acupuncture points that stimulate a facelift. I know it sounds odd, but that's where it's done. Now what we'll do is we'll do one eye at a time, and when you learn the technique, you can actually do both at the same time. So starting with the right eye, I'd like you to press lightly at the center of the inner eye and sort of by the bridge of your nose. And then I'd like you to roll and press 7 times to your temple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hold. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go over the brow bone, and that's also going to be a count of 7. Okay? So we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Okay? Now, next we're going to actually travel down the side of the nose. So we're going to travel 7 times, and we're going to land below the nostril and hold it there. Are you ready? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and hold. Now let's feel this fantastic texture. When you first touch the eye balm to your skin, the first thing you're going to feel is this cool, dramatic, wet sensation. This is all miracle broth and ferments. Nothing is diluted. I want to share with you some clinical data. The clinical data are numbers from tests and measurements with instruments and cameras. Really no opinions at all. These are just facts. And these are the actual immediate results. Immediate results show 81% improvement in hydration, 63% improvement in clarity. That's immediate, no waiting. Secondly, I'd like to show you clinical results that are demonstrated by panelists after 4 and 8 weeks. After 4 weeks, there's a consistent improvement of 85% in firmness, lifting, and lines and wrinkles. That's only after 4 weeks. After 8 weeks, the number goes up to 90%. 90% improvement in firmness, lifting, and lines and wrinkles. What's really critical is that every single woman tested showed a reduction in the appearance of puffiness. The next thing I want to share with you are consumer perception tests. And this is a claims test. This is where people just give us what they feel after they've used the product. There's absolutely no concept, and there's no knowledge of the company. They don't have a clue that it's La Mer. And what's really interesting is after 1 week, you could see it hydrates the skin around the eyes. These are what people are actually saying. Hydrates skin around the eyes, 98%. It reduces the appearance of lines and wrinkles, improves firmness and sagging of the eye area. Eyes look more youthful. It gives eyes a more lifted look. It reduces the appearance of puffiness. Eyes feel soothed and calm. Eyes have a smooth appearance and improves skin clarity, and eyes look brighter and more radiant. What's important is that we see a result in 1 week. In 4 weeks, it only gets better. And I want to show you the way these claims are kind of bucketed. And it's a way to just prove that our product delivers on exactly what we say it does, really giving us 10 reasons to believe. Now, we've talked to you about clinicals, about consumer perception tests, and now I'd like to share with you verbatims. And verbatims are exactly what they shared, line for line, no changing the quote at all. It has reduced the swelling and wrinkles. The results were fabulous. Puffiness is diminished and lines are softer. My eye area looks firmer and more refreshed. And lastly, the eye area looks brighter and smoother. I look younger. What I've said is, I use it all over my eyes and my laugh lines, and I can't stop smiling. Please enjoy.